I can't see you, Bill.
That's all right. We don't. You're just going to listen to me.
Okay.
Bill shy.
I'm on my cell phone, so I don't know how to get how to get all those pictures up either at the same time. So.
Jose, how do I get the URL to copy over to the website?
On the
Once
YouTube?
I'm
Yeah, on the YouTube channel? Yeah,
Yes.
just copy the URL from there and then just copy and paste it into
from the
yeah, the video.
address bar?
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Okay, I think it's ready. I'm going to share my screen for the audience to follow.
Yep, that's the next step, is to share the screen with your electronic school board on, and then from there, Ms. Davis should be able to, start the meeting.
What's all that noise?
There's some background noise, Donnie.
Abby, can you hear that noise?
I can. Can we all mute our mics and let's see what Donnie's mic will do?
Background noise, Donnie. Yeah, if you're not talking, if you can mute your mic.
Abby, can you hear that noise? Yeah, I just don't know how to turn it off.
Can we all mute our mics and let's see what Donnie's mic will do?
Noise, Donnie. Yeah, if you're not talking, if you can mute your mic.
Can you hear that noise? Yeah, I just don't know how to turn it off.
I can. Mics and let's see what Donnie's mic will do.
Noise, Donnie. Yeah, if you're not talking, if you can mute your mic.
Can you hear that noise? Yeah, I just don't know how to turn it off.
I can, Dottie. Just go ahead and run the.
Maria, you calling me?
Okay. Why don't we do this, Dottie? I will share the electronic school board screen, and you can go ahead and move forward with the board meeting.
Okay,
Okay. So I'll share my screen.
are we ready?
Dottie, if you could allow me to share my screen, please.
Just a reminder, if we don't have a speaking role, make sure we mute our mics.
Where's my mic at on this, August?
Should we go ahead and start? Or,
Okay.
Jose, should I just switch it over to you then?
Yeah, if you want to just let me share the screen, I can share the screen and we can start. And you can just do the board on the back end, the ESB on the back end.
Do you want me to go ahead and start, Dottie? Okay. Good evening. Call the meeting to order. Let the record show that Mr. Bonds and Mrs. Arrayes are absent. 2.1, adoption of agenda. I need a motion and a second.
So
So
move.
moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. O'Banion, second by Mr. Van Worth. Call for the vote. Why don't we do a roll call vote because
It just came
I
up.
don't have the,
It just came up.
okay. I still don't have it.
Yeah, mine came up also.
Yeah, it's our Wi-Fi. We're on slow Wi-Fi. Some of us are. That's why it's slowly.
Okay. So let's just do, if we can, let's do a roll call vote. Aye.
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 All opposed? And it passes. 3.1, Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Mr. O'Banion?
Ready, salute.
I pledge allegiance
To
to
the
the
flag
flag of the United States of America and to the
of the
republic
for which it
for which
stands,
it stands, one
One
nation, under God,
Indivisible,
indivisible,
I just.
with liberty and justice for all. Communications and/or public comment. Public concerns will be heard by the board at this time. However, they will not be discussed. Policy number 9323 limits individuals' presentation to 3 minutes. The president may extend the time under certain circumstances. This is the opportunity for members of the public to focus on issues important to the districts of education. Under board policy, this time may not be used to present derogatory information of a personal nature on any employee. Is there any public comment, Dottie? Is there any public comment, Dottie?
No.
5.1, resolution number 19/2019 to approve Field Turf California Multiple Award Schedule, CMAS, procurement, Valley Precision Grading, and Benon Sports Surfaces Incorporated, and associated lease financing with Multiple Finance Corporation. I need a motion and a second.
So move.
Moved by Mr. O'Banion. Second by Mrs. Davis. Dr. Miller?
Yeah, so I know it's been kind of a long time coming, but now we, with the support of Bryce, we're here now with all of the documentation, the CMAS contracts for Benon Sports, also the CMAS contract for Valley Precision Grading, along with the financing agreement. And so it's all the documents are there. Like I said, we're to support this project. I like to share my screen if I can, Dottie, or Pajay, if that's possible. Initially when we went out to, we did a piggyback bid for the actual field itself and for the materials. And it took a little bit longer due to the need to be able to do a CMAS contract for the actual labor piece of it. And so now that we went back and forth, and now we're in a place to be able to complete all the documents. All of them have been gone through by our attorney, Bryce Chastain. They're all up to par, and both parties agree to the terms. It's basically a 3-year contract for financing. Am I able to share now, Pajay, or?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Here, let me do this. Okay, it's not. I'm trying to pull up. Hold on one second.
What's it say on the bottom? Is it, when you try to share, what does it say?
I'm trying to pull up the separate screen, which I'm trying to do, and I just need to pull it up in a
Okay.
different browser, which I'm doing right now. I'm almost done.
Sorry.
No worries. Almost there. Let's see if this works. So does everybody see basically the rental payment schedule? Does that come up for everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And so basically, as we discussed before, this has been brought to several board meetings before and discussed. It's basically we're putting approximately $700,000 down on the project for the financing agreement, and then financing the $2 million. And so this is basically the payment schedule over the 3 years. You'll see that we have a 2.5% interest rate. Initially, it was the high threes we got from a different bank, and then it got bumped up to 4.24. However, working with Bryce and their company, their organization, they were able to seek out better financing terms, which has reduced the cost of the overall project by about 30 or 40,000. And so these are basically the terms. Funding, as we've discussed recently, that there are no cuts to funding in schools. There is at the state level, initially it was about 10%. Now there's no cuts at all. And so we will be made whole as a district. And so there's really no reason not to move forward. And so is there any questions or other items that anybody would have to discuss, or for myself or Bryce?
Dr. Miller, on the completion date,
Yes.
was that just to give him more flexibility, more room just to cover his?
Yeah, I know that the date was October 15th, I believe, if that's correct, Bryce. And so it's basically October 15th because obviously this individual has other jobs, and the way it transpired, initially we were supposed to start around March, and now we're starting in June. And so it's kind of pushed back some time frames. And so in order to give Valley Precision Grading some more time, we're going to, he would request that it be extended out a little bit. However, he feels confident. This is coming from Kip and Valley Precision Grading. He feels confident that he'll be done before that. And so, but again, it gives him some leeway in order to get the project done. He said normally it takes about 70 days. And so that'll probably, like I said, get us into August or the end of August. And as we know right now, we know the football season more than likely at the earliest will start September 1st, the earliest in the county. And so it should be pretty close to that time frame. if everything goes to our best possible scenario.
Mr. O'Banion?
In the big document that was sent out that I was reading on it, it said, I don't know the exact number, but it was like 2.4 something million. On the document you just showed us was 2.1 something. And also the completion date on that document was October 31st, I believe. Could be wrong, but is that what
Yeah,
number is?
So the document that I showed you is the actual financing. So we're not financing the whole number. We're just financing 2 million. And that's where you get the 2.1.
Okay,
The 2.4, initially it was 2.675, if you recall.
yes.
But however, Bryce, in collaboration with Valley Precision Grading, it was actually a cheaper price to actually have a separate CMAS contract through Baynon Sports. And so it saved the district about $30,000. And so now we did 2 separate CMAS contracts, one for Valley Precision Grading for around 2.4. And I believe that the Baynon Sports was 279,000, if I'm correct. It's pretty close to that number, which ends up being around 2.7, a little shade over 2.7. There was an increase that we discussed prior to the asphalt cost. Now that it moved into being a summer job, and that's why the price went up there a little bit. But again, we saved about $30,000 or $40,000 in switching over to Baynon, and we also saved $30,000 or $40,000 by getting a better interest rate, going with a different finance company.
Okay, thank you.
Bryce, did you have something you wanted to say?
I only wanted to clarify the October dates. The contract has a completion date of October 15. The October 31 date that you saw is when they start having to pay liquidated damages every day that they're late.
Okay, and I saw that it's like $500 a day.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you would, that's right. Sorry.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Then if we're ready, we'll call for the vote. Mr. Mraz? Mr. Mraz?
Yes.
Mr. Chase?
Yes.
Mr. O'Banion?
Yes.
Mr. Van Werth?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, and it passes. 5.2, extra pay for extra duty, summer school secretaries. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. O'Banion,
Second.
second by Mr. Van Werth. Dr. Miller?
So this extra pay for extra duties, some of it has to do with additional day to close out summer school. We're also picking up, having students drop off laptops to close out summer school, because summer school's been done virtually, similar to the end of the school year. And so there's just a little bit of hours that we'll need from the 2 secretaries.
Okay, are there any questions for Dr. Miller? Okay, we'll call for the vote. Mr. Mraz?
Yes.
Mr. O'Banion?
Yes.
Mr. Chase?
Yes.
Mr. Van Werth?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well, and it passes. 6.1, adjourn meeting. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mraz,
Second.
second by Mr. O'Banion. Call for the vote. Mr. Mraz,
Yes.
Mr. O'Banion,
Yes.
Mr. Chase,
Yes.
Mr. Van Werth,
Yes.
and it passes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you, guys. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you,
all.
everybody. Okay. Good night.
Thank you.
That's
Dr.
done.
Miller, if you could give the host back to Dottie so she could end the meeting, please.
Done, 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 done.